TV show on Kids Place Live. So, Coach Jeff, do you remember summers when you were a kid and what you used to do, how you used to spend them?
Oh, they were the best. It was the best times ever.
Do you ever remember being bored in the summer and having to figure out something to do with your time?
Yeah, the first couple weeks were always really exciting. You always had something to do, and then you would kind of hit that lull like halfway through summer. You're like, all right, well, now what am I going to do?
So, do you have anything that you used to do when you used to get bored?
Oh, I used to do a bunch of stuff. My cousins lived in the same neighborhood as I did, so growing up, we used to get together and we would play the TV show Survivor, but we would do it in our own backyard.
Oh, you would play Survivor.
And we would do challenges, and then we would make alliances and vote each other out, and someone always ended up crying.
Wow! Would you camp in the backyard?
We were able to fit it in a day because there was only about seven of us, so we were able to get it, vote people out pretty quickly.
So fun. And I'm sure that, was this in the suburbs or the city? Where were you living?
Yep, suburbs of Philadelphia.
And Survivor, the TV show, takes place in like remote islands from around the world.
Yeah, so it was a little less scenic, but
I'm sure it was really hard to survive.
It was a challenge, for sure.
All right, well, we are heading into summer right now, and I think this is the best time of the year to be bored. I am a huge fan of boredom. I wish I had more time to be bored in my own life. I love it when my kids are bored because I think that if you can get through the boredom, there's magic on the other side every time. Boredom breeds creativity. And I have got for you a story of a Guinness World Record that was recently broken that I think could be something to do when there's nothing to do this summer. This could be a Guinness World Record that you attempt all summer long. So, Coach Jeff, Tori and I would always talk about this guy in Idaho. He is a serial record breaker. His name is David Rush. And he, with his neighbor, Jonathan Hollywood Hannon, have broken over 250 STEM-related Guinness World Records over the last few years. In fact, I think they broke a new world record every single week of 2021, maybe into 2022. Yeah, they're nuts. So, recently, David Rush broke another Guinness World Record, which was completed by wrapping his niece in newspaper. See? This is something anyone can do. Or can they? So here's the deal. So David Rush first was practicing this Guinness World Record on his son, Joey. And he would, he would try to wrap Joey in newspaper, but he found one of the rules of completing this world record is that the newspaper cannot rip. And so every time he tried to wrap it around Joey, who was a competitive gymnast, apparently Joey's muscles were just too well defined from all his gymnastics that every time he tried to wrap Joey in newspaper, his body would rip the newspaper. So then David Rush enlisted his niece, Cypress, to be the second person that he would attempt to try this with. And guess what, Coach Jeff? It worked. He managed to cover his niece completely head to toe in newspaper in 2 minutes and 53 seconds. So this beat the previous record of 3 minutes and 5 seconds set by a guy in England named Johnny Andrews back in 2013.
Where do people come up with these?
I don't know. Boredom. I'm telling you, if you get bored,
look for world records to break.
Yeah, there's so many world records to break. I should note, I think it's really interesting that this guy only beat the record by, 20 seconds or so, because previously this man has won Guinness World Records of doing things like balancing a lawnmower on his chin for 3 hours. I'm not kidding. Something like that. I mean, juggling chainsaws that were turned on. I mean, this guy has done it all, but when it came to wrapping his niece in newspaper, it was not as easy as he thought it would be. So that is my challenge to you this summer. When you get bored, find some time to get bored, and then wrap a sibling or a friend completely head to toe in newspaper without ripping the newspaper, and see how difficult this challenge really is. And if you do this, grown-ups, I hope you get a video of it and you could post it to our Absolutely Mindy post-show parent club group on Facebook, because I want to see what this looks like when it's actually being done by someone who is not a professional Guinness World Record breaker.
We should say, though, that we should make sure that, cut a little spot near the nose and mouth so that they can breathe.
Oh, you're good, Jeff. Yeah, you're just making sure everyone's safe.
That was my first concern, thinking about the niece there. I'm like, well, how did she breathe if it was head to toe?
That never even crossed my mind.
And you can't tear the paper.
You cannot tear the paper.
So, like, is cutting a mouth hole cheating? Like, do you not get it? Or does that have to be the last thing you put on?
I wonder if you could leave, like, a little flap. That's part of your STEM project here, is leaving some room for the person to breathe without cutting or ripping the newspaper.
But we just want all of our friends to be safe. I encourage everybody to do this, but just do it safely.
Be safe. You're right, Jeff. Always looking out for safety. All right, so that's your challenge this summer. Find a time to wrap yourself in newspaper. Maybe skip the head. Maybe do neck down.
Neck. Yeah, there you go.
Just do neck down. Leave the head unnewspapered.
And make a silly
neck
face,
down
too. That
and
way
make a funny.
Yep, that's part of the challenge.
So hands, feet, everything. Leave your head spared, but try to wrap someone in newspaper without ripping the newspaper. All right, there you go. That's your challenge when you're bored with nothing to do. So I want to do a quick segment right now. I want to know, what do you do when there's nothing to do? And it can't be anything involving a screen, a toy, like when there's truly nothing to do and nothing to do it with. What do you do when there's nothing to do? So call us up now. We are looking for some ideas for when we get bored this summer. 1-866-328-2345. It's the Absolutely Mindy Show on Kids Place Live.